All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Tonight we are picking up where we left off on Monday night. We did a test prep. So we looked at all the fundamental skills, the highs, the lows of what you need to know for section 2 of the reading, craft and structure. So tonight what we're going to do is we're going to take those skills that we looked at and we are going to apply them to some practice questions and take a practice test. Now, how I've done it, if you're new, is I've divided it up by each subsection of the second portion of the reading. So that way you can kind of get an idea of how each of those sections apply to the questions. All right. So before we get started, just some helpful information. So this is our handy dandy QR code sheet. So this provides you with a link for the QBank. So if you are interested in more practice questions, please check out our QBank. Our question bank now has over 2,000 questions with rationales. What are the rationales and why are they important? Well, not only do you get to see why the correct answer is correct, you also get an explanation on why the other answers are incorrect, which can oftentimes be a lot more helpful when you're trying to learn how to improve on answering those questions. With many of those questions, you'll also see extra study tip sheets. So I know for the reading and the English, what I did was I went in and I said, okay, what does a student need to know to be able to successfully answer this question? And then I just made a study tip sheet. Now, if you joined in Monday night or if you did not have a chance to join in Monday night, we do have on-demand videos. Now, what they do is they will give you, or what they do is they give you a deep dive into each specific topic. Okay, so what that means is like if you really need to focus on main ideas or you really need to focus on fact and opinion, that's where you can go in and look at it a little bit more in depth. Now, it doesn't mean you have to sit there and look through a whole video because we do have timestamps. So you can go right to the point that you need to look at and the topic you need to focus on. And you don't have to sit there and watch an hour-long video waiting to get to facts and opinions. Now, with the on-demand videos, you also get note sheets there and cheat sheets, and they can be very helpful when studying. If you're interested in tutoring, make sure to check out our tutoring link. Um, if you are interested, we have 30-minute and hour-long sessions, so maybe you don't have time in your day for an hour-long session, but you want to grab a quick 30 minutes here or a quick 30 minutes there just to go through some practice questions, ask questions, whatever it is your needs are. Okay. And if you see a time or if you don't see a time that works for you, here's my email. You can email me directly right here at tammy.summerlin at R.2. If you are wanting to look at our free live webinars, make sure to check those out. We actually are going to be restructuring July so that you can get more practice tests in. So make sure to check those out. And if you want to catch up on any webinars you may have missed in the past, rewatch our webinars here. But the on-demand is definitely going to give you more of that deep dive that I was just telling you about. Now, if you're interested in some of these products and you want to save a little bit of money, and who doesn't, right? You want to check out that SurePass. So the SurePass is going to give you a discount on QBank and on-demand videos together. It's a bundle package. And SurePass Pro is going to give you, let me switch over here. That's going to give you a discount on the QBank, on-demand videos, and tutoring sessions. So you really get your bang for your buck there. Okay. Any questions about any of those great resources? Alrighty. So make sure to check us out on our socials. We are doing videos, so you get practice questions, study tips, videos, things like that. We have lots of good resources we're sharing over there, and sometimes we do giveaways. Just a great way to interact and really make sure that you're getting the most out of all of our resources. So make sure to check us out here. And if you ever have any questions, email us. We love feedback. If you are interested in tutoring, here's our individual QR codes. So English and reading for me, science with Shelly, and math with Brandon. So make sure to check those out. All right. Now that's all of my little resource sheets. Does anybody have any questions before we dive into the practice test? Can everybody still hear me okay? Instagram, you guys doing okay over there? Facebook, YouTube, Zoom. Now, as we go through tonight, we are, like I said, we're going to do practice questions per subtopic. Sorry, I couldn't talk there for a second. And as we're going through those questions, please feel encouraged to participate. Put your answers in the chat, the comment section. It really kind of helps me gauge how you're doing with things and for us just to interact with each other. All right. If you have any questions as we're going through them, say you get one that you didn't get right, that's okay. Ask questions if you need it. That's what we're here for. Okay. All right. So again, the refresh on our subtopics are 2.1, we looked at fact and opinion. 2.2, looking at the context of words. 2.3 was finding that author's purpose. And 2.5, 2.4, not 2.5, I jumped way over. 2.4 is analyzing the author's point of view. So let's kick it off with 2.1, one of my favorites, finding the difference between fact and opinion. All right, so let's jump right on into a practice question. So I'm going to just let you dive right into this. I'm going to let you read this passage, read the question, and then you give me your answer. Okay? I'm going to set 45 seconds on the timer, and then we will come back and check them. Ready? And go. All right, there's our timer. And we've got some answers up there in the comment section. Great job, you guys. So the correct answer for this one is, first off, let's look at the question. What statement from the paragraph is an opinion? So remember, with an opinion, we are looking for something that could change from person to person. That's the big question we want to ask ourselves. So as we're going through each of these answer options, we're asking ourselves, okay, so which one of these could change from person to person? The correct answer is C. Now, what I'm going to do throughout the night is I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at the individual one after we reveal the correct answer, and I'm going to show it to you so you can kind of see it in action. So C is, some people claim that exercising outdoors is far more beneficial than working out in a gym. So this one would be an opinion because it's what some people claim, not what research backs up or what data can confirm. It is what some people claim. Now, at the end of the sentence, we see that it says it's more beneficial than working out. This can be a little misleading with the wording because it makes it sound like it's verified information. Oh, you're welcome. So now we have to be careful with that because it's really the wording at the beginning of that sentence that helps reinforce that this could change from person to person because it's some people claiming. So notice the difference. Let's look at A, for example. Research suggests that regular physical activity can improve cardiovascular health. Now, this is not something that could change from person to person because it's talking about what the research suggests, what someone sat down and recorded based off of what they either witnessed or observed, um, information that they collected. This is what research is considered a sound fact. Now, it could be found to be untrue, but it's something we could go look up. Research suggests. So, could we go pull the data results? Yes, we could. Same thing with B. Many health organizations recommend at least 150, not all, but many. Now, the word, if it was worded all, more students have said that that would make them think that that was a fact versus many. So if you missed this and you thought it was B, mainly it was probably because of the word many health organizations. That will sometimes trip students up. So with many health organizations, that's still something we can go look up. Okay. Even though it's not all organizations, we could go see that 5 out of 10 of them said that 150 minutes is what's recommended. With D, engaging in regular exercise can enhance mental well being. Okay. Now, this is something that technically, if you miss this one, it's probably because of the way it's worded. So, engaging in regular exercise can enhance mental well-being. Now, this is something that could change from person to person, but based off of the fact, I'm sorry, based off of the research is suggesting that it could enhance mental well-being. So therefore, that is something we could go look up because we could go evaluate the data. Okay. All right. Some people said, what are the prices for tutoring? Um, Now with tutoring, so our tutoring does run at $75 per session. I have many students that have said that it is very beneficial. Um, I had one student who just came back. We did a month, actually 2 months worth of, power sessions. We did a lot of sessions together, and she scored extremely well on her sessions. So I hope that helps answer that. And it's very individualized. So we look at what you need as an individual student. Mhm. Now let's move on to the next one. If you have any other questions about tutoring, I'm not sure if you saw the informational page that I posted, but I'll be happy to go back in a few minutes and give you my email address, and you could email me or you can email us at pre-nursing. But let me know if you have any other questions. Um, they are either, you can do either a 30-minute session, and that's half the price, or you can do a full hour for the 75. So you can do 30 minutes or an hour long session. Your choosing. All right, so we have this one right here. I'm going to set our timer. Ready and go. Oh, and that's 45 seconds on the timer. All right, there's our timer. All right, okay, yes, I'll give you my email address. All right, let's check our answers. So the correct answer, again, we're looking for an opinion. And the correct answer for this one was C as well. So let's go back, not to give you whiplash, but let's go back and take a look at this one. So C, some people, there's that same wording. It's not always going to be that easy. They won't be back to back like that. But some people believe that organic foods are significantly healthier. There's that tricky wording, significantly healthier than conventionally grown foods. D, a balanced diet is important for maintaining overall health. Could we go look that up? Yes, we could. Okay. And nutritional experts emphasize the benefits of consuming a variety of fruits and vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains. That's something we can go look up. We can check with those nutritional experts. Did they say that? Did they emphasize it? We can go look it up. Now, is it true or not? We don't know, but we can go look it up. Studies have shown that diets rich in these foods can reduce the risk of chronic diseases such as heart disease and diabetes. Again, is that true? We don't know, but we're not going to stress about that while we're taking our test. We're going to go and ask ourselves, can I go look that up? All right, because so remember, we're not stressing about if something is true or not, or if it's correct or not. We're asking ourselves, could I go look this up? Or would this change from person to person? Okay, any questions on that one? All right. Okay, let's try this one. We're shifting to a different type of question. So I'm gonna put 45 seconds on the timer. Ready? And go. All right, just a few more seconds. All right, there's our timer. The correct answer for this one is A. Good job to everyone who got that correct, but let's just go back and take a look at it. So, which of the following is a fact? The Great Barrier Reef is one of the most diverse marine ecosystems in the world. So, could we go look that up? Yes, we could. We could go look up and see, is it a very diverse marine ecosystem? Now, with B, the key here is that it says the most stunning. That could change from person to person. Maybe you don't care anything about the ocean or anything underwater. That might not be stunning to you. Okay? It's kind of like how my friend and I we feel very differently about snakes. I'm never going to go in her house because she loves them so and she has them in her house. I'm not nope, I'm not going to go there. The C, the wording there is that the reef will completely, now this one can be tricky. The reef will completely recover from environmental threats without human intervention. This is a thought that could change from person to person. One person might believe this. However, this is something that could change from person to person. Another person or scientist might think that it'll be fine if you let it go on its own. But this is not something we could go look up at this point in time because it's talking about something that could happen in the future. You see the difference there? So we have to be careful of that. Remember, if it's a fact, it's something we can go look up. This is not something we can necessarily go look up. D. Now we could, start a study and track it, but we can't give a definite answer because we don't know the outcome right now. D. Immediate action must be taken to protect the reef. Again, this is something that could change. Some people might not care about it and they wouldn't think you need immediate action. All right. So, any questions about that one? All right. Here's another one. I'm going to put 45 seconds on the timer and go. All right. There's our timer. The correct answer for this one is A. Good job if you got this correct. So, fact, it's the tallest mountain in the world. Now, do we know if it is the tallest mountain? We're not worrying about that, remember? So, we can ask ourselves, can we go look this up? It's the most thrilling adventure. I'm gonna say no. That's a no for me. People froze to death up there. That's not my cup of tea. If that's yours, go for it. But that's not me. So that's not thrilling. That's terrifying. Only experienced climbers should be. There's those key words there. Remember, should and ought are persuasive wording. The dangers of climbing Everest are exaggerated. I'm gonna beg to differ. So that's something that could change from person to person. All right. Any other questions on that one? All right. So that's fact versus opinion. So the big takeaway there, and I think many of you are starting to get the hang of it, is ask yourself, is this something that I can go look up? Not if it's true or not. Don't stress yourself out. Okay. But can I go look this up? If it is, then it's a fact. If it's something that could change from person to person, then you're looking at an opinion. Now, with 2.2, remember we talked about different ways to look at context clues, different types of context clues to find the meaning of a word or a phrase. So we're going to go ahead and jump on in. With this section, we also talked about, just spoiler alert, with this section, we also talked about different types of figurative language, and those are the ones we're going to look at now. So take a look at this question. I'm going to set 45 seconds on the timer for this first one, and then we'll come back and check it. Ready? And go. All right, there's our timer. What'd you get? Oh, I see quite a variety of answers here. So this one, which figurative device is being used? The baby's cry was as loud as a siren. So the correct answer for this one is going to be A. Let's go back and look at it. The baby's cry was as loud as a siren. The word as is the big giveaway here. We're making a comparison between the baby's cry and a siren. We're comparing the cry to that of a siren. And the key here is that it's using the word as. Now remember, with A and B, they are both making a comparison, similes and metaphors, both make a comparison between two unlike things. The big difference is that with a simile, you're going to use either the word as or like to do so. With a metaphor, you just make that statement right on out. His heart is made of stone. Okay? Now, if it's a hyperbole, oh, Instagram, you guys okay? Okay, it looks like it. Okay. I was making sure you hadn't lost your visual. Now, with a hyperbole, this is an extreme exaggeration. Personification is when we're giving a human characteristic to something that's not a human. Okay? Any questions on this one? So, if you put metaphor, you were on the right track, but just remember that a metaphor is not going to use the words like or as. So, if you see that comparison being made, ask yourself, all right, do I see the word like or as? If you do, automatically remember simile. You want me to tell you a little trick on how I used to remember that? With simile, metaphor, I would always know that a simile and a metaphor, they both make comparisons. But then I was like, well, which one was it that used like or as? Well, simile has an S in it, and so does as. I know this is a stretch, but this is just what worked for my brain. So as had an S in it, like simile does, and like has an L in it, like simile does. So it has as and like. Now, again, that's just me, but maybe that'll help somebody else. All right. Everybody good? All right, let's take a look at this one. I'm going to put 30 seconds on the timer for this one. Let's see how you do. All right, there's our timer. The correct answer is B. Let's go back and take a look at it. So with B, it being a metaphor, the classroom was a zoo during free time, with students running, shouting, and laughing nonstop. So again, we're making that comparison, but this time we're not using the word like or as. Good job. Great job, YouTube. All right, let's try this one. Let's do 30 seconds on the timer. See how you do. Ready? And go. All right, I see a couple people still typing. All right, the correct answer for this one is B. But let's go back and look. A soft breeze whispered through the towering pines as the moon cast a silver glow over the quiet forest where fireflies flickered like tiny lanterns in the night. So, which of the following describes the mood? Well, while it might be thought to be suspenseful and eerie because it's talking about the towering pines and the moon, but look at how it then talks about it. It cast a silver glow over the quiet forest where they flickered like tiny lanterns in the night. That reaffirms a calm and more enchanting mood versus suspenseful and eerie. There's nothing really hinting at danger or suspense or anything creepy. It's not chaotic, it's not overwhelming. While it is dark, in the towering pines, it's not gloomy. It's not presented that way, and it's not necessarily it's not presented as depressing. So any questions there? All right. Let's take a look at this one. How do you think you can do on this one? I'll put 30 seconds. Is that enough time for everybody last time? All right. Okay. All right, let's go. 30 seconds. All right. Okay, I think everybody's done typing now. All right, so for this one, the correct answer is A. It's warm and comforting. The crackling fireplace cast a golden glow. See that color choice there? Golden glow. That's usually something warm. Across the cozy, there's another keyword, cabin, as the scent of cinnamon and pine filled the air, wrapping the room in a warm, there's another giveaway right there, embrace. All right, any questions? All right, so I think you got the hang of that. Well, hello, Facebook. With 2.3, we're looking at author's purpose. All right, so we've got a practice question here. Remember, we talked about first, second, third person. We briefly touched on third person omniscient and third person limited. So take a look at these and then we'll go back and review as needed. All right, I'm going to put 30 seconds on the timer. Ready and go. All right, so first person, second person, third person omniscient, and third person limited. So, in a novel, the narrator describes the thoughts, the narrator, there's the key word, the narrator describes the thoughts and feelings of multiple characters, but does not participate in the story. This one would be C, third person omniscient. All right. So just a quick recap. First person means that the narrator is in the story. So they're telling the events of the story from within the story itself. You're going to see those pronouns like I, me. It's going to be a limited perspective as well. You will not see the thoughts and feelings of multiple characters because first person is only telling from their point of view, that individual narrator's point of view. With second person, this is when you're speaking directly to the reader. So again, you would not have that aspect of having the thoughts and feelings of multiple characters because you, the narrator, are talking directly to you, the reader. Okay. Now, C and D are very tricky because you have to keep in mind what's the difference between third person omniscient and third person limited. Third person in general is going to be when the narrator is outside of the story. Okay? So, based off of this, the narrator is describing the thoughts and feelings of multiple characters but does not participate. Does not participate in the story is the giveaway that it's not going to be either A, first person, or B, second person. So we can limit it down by not participating to C or D. Third person's not participating in the story. But then you've got to tell the difference between omniscient and limited. Okay. So limited, let's start with that one first, even though it's D. Limited is when it's going to be kind of restricted to one particular character's experience. Okay. So where the narrator is still outside of the story, either ways they're going to be outside the story, but they're only going to tell you from one character's perspective. So Tom did this and Tom did that. But you're gonna see Tom interacting with Alicia. You're gonna see Tom interacting with Wes. You're gonna see Tom interacting with Cheryl, but you're not going to see the thoughts and the feelings of those other characters. You're only gonna see the inner workings of Tom. But Tom is not is not the narrator of the story. Okay? So it's kind of like just a little cloud hovering over that one character of Tom. Now, that's limited. So that's when the narrator's removed from the story, but limited to one character. Now, with third person omniscient, that's different because, and I always think about this as omniscient is like almighty. So if it's third person omniscient, it's going to be that big, broad cloud that covers everybody. So you're going to get to see things from Tom's perspective. You're going to see what Tom feels and thinks. But then you're also going to see what Wes thinks, and then you're going to see what Alicia thinks, and you're going to see how they interact and how they all think. So that's where you get the thoughts and the feelings of the multiple characters from that third person omniscient. So remember, third person limited is going to be limited to one, maybe two, but typically it's going to be limited to one character's perspective. All right? Any questions there? All right, let's try this one. Go for this one. Ready? And go. All right, there's our timer. Our correct answer is going to be A, first person. The key is that it's using I, and even though we is a collective pronoun, it's still including that first person. So they're sharing their own thoughts and feelings. So that would be first person. Everybody good? All right. Let's try this one. This one we're going to look at a passage. So I'm going to give you 45 seconds on the timer because it's a little bit longer. All right. Ready? And go. All right. There's our timer. And our correct answer is B. Let's go back and look at this one. What is the author's perspective in this passage? Renewable energy is too expensive and unreliable to replace fossil fuels. Renewable energy is a promising solution for sustainability despite some challenges. The government should ban, there's one of those key words we've always paid attention to, ban fossil fuels immediately to stop climate change. D, there is no need to transition to renewable energy because fossil fuels are unlimited. So for this one, B, renewable energy is a promising solution. The use has grown rapidly. Wind, solar, and hydroelectric power provide sustainable to coal and natural gas, reducing emissions. However, some critics argue that transitions to renewable is too expensive and unreliable. Despite these concerns, that's a key transition that we want to note here. So even though they're talking about some critics, they're presenting renewable energy is a promising solution, despite some challenges. All right. So if you didn't get that one correct, let me know if you need a little bit more deep dive or we'll keep on going. All right, let's try this one. A little bit longer passage, but we're still going to try our 45 seconds just to see how you do. All right. And our correct answer is A. How'd we do? To ensure the information is used accurate and reliable. There's reliable right here. He's considering the following. Which of the following is a reason to evaluate the credibility? Any questions? If you got it wrong, don't be afraid to ask. All right. 2.4. So we're looking at point of view and or perspective. All right, so we're looking for the perspective in this passage. Let me put 30 seconds on the timer just to see how we do with it. Ready? And go. There's our timer. Our correct answer is B. The author highlights the positive contributions of immigrants and advocates for fair immigration policies. Any questions on this one? I see some conflicting answers, but everybody good? All right, I'm going to keep on rolling for time's sake. All right, let's take a look at this one. 30 seconds on our timer and go. All right. And our answer would be B. The author argues that the government should take immediate action to address climate change. How'd we do? Any questions? All right, so with this one, I firmly believe that urgent action, so urgent being very similar to the word immediate, to be taken to combat climate change, to address climate change. So we're just looking at a change of wording there. All right, well, that's our time for tonight. But if you'd like to give some feedback, here's a quick QR code you can use. Someone was interested in tutoring, so take a quick scan at this. But I'm also going to go back very quickly. Oops. And if you were interested in tutoring, here's the tutoring QR code. Actually, here, this one's probably better. There you go. So YouTube, I know you were asking about that. That's for you. And actually, if you do want this one has my email address. So if you're interested, if you don't see a 30-minute or an hour slot and you're interested in English or reading, you can always email me at tammy.summerlin@R.2. Well, that's all for tonight. Does anybody have any last questions before we head on out? All right. Well, you guys have a great night. We'll be back next week with English, and I'll see y'all then. Bye, y'all.